Imagine this never happened. Imagine a secret sealed in concrete and fear. A living extraterrestrial breathing in a lab below New Mexico. 5 years in American custody. 5 years of footage locked in a vault. 5 years of silence bought with ruined lives. They called him Ebo. This is the confession they meant to bury. Because once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Today, we dive into the captivity of a being who should have changed history and the men who decided you would never know. January 1947, cold desert, quiet sky. 2 objects tear it open like knives. One dies near Corona, one vanishes into the mesas. The recovery team expects wreckage. Instead, they find eyes, black, lucid, unblinking. 4 feet 3 inches, 60 pounds, suit sealed to skin, still alive. They whisper a name, Ebo. No press, just an unmarked convoy, lights off, hearts hammering. Destination, Los Alamos. A room without windows, air that smells like iodine and secrets. They don't know if he's radioactive. They don't know if he's contagious. They don't know if we are. So they isolate him. Masks, gloves, distance. 16mm cameras swallowing every second. He watches back. Days pass. No screaming, no violence, only careful hands and patient eyes. Then the first miracle, communication. Finger to picture, picture to word, word to meaning. A captain is assigned, linguist, insomniac, true believer. He moves in, eats in the same room, sleeps on the other side of the glass. His orders, observe everything, feel nothing. He fails. Ebo learns faster than anyone expects. Shapes, numbers, simple English. He waits for someone to understand. Scientists study the body. 2 tongues, one beneath for language, one above with tiny cups for extracting juice. No teeth, fruit dissolved whole, plant-based rations approximated from the craft, meat rejected, always. Inside the chest, one organ breathing and beating at once. Waste processed by a single system, fluid like blood that refuses tests. Everything recorded, nothing explained. He wears a one-piece suit that regulates heat flawlessly. They freeze the room, they heat the room. Ebo's temperature never moves. They try to cut the fabric, it doesn't cut. Touch matters to him. Fingers on forearm, palms to cheek. The guards flinch. He peels his mask off. He hates it. They put it back on. He removes it again. Eventually, they give up. For him, touch is speaking. The captain notices the pattern. After touching, Ebo is calmer. After touching, he shares more. Who taught him to be this gentle? What happened to the others? Because there were others. 5 bodies pulled from the wreck, exposed, decayed, coded, stored. 2 years later, a rancher near Paloma Peak finds a second craft. Same design, same species, no survivors. 2 impacts, 1 story. We are not alone, and someone is missing them. Cue the second miracle, the device.
From the wreck, a small object, unreadable controls, impossible interface. Not a radio, not a computer, something else. With Ebo's guidance, the signal opens. A bridge, thin as wire, stretches from a bunker in America to a point not on any chart. No president briefed, no oversight, a handful of men shaking because the void spoke back. They call it a test. They log it as nothing. Then they hide the film. The captain keeps talking to Ibo. He asks about the home world. Ibo says water is universal. H2O everywhere life breathes. He speaks of plants like glass and cities built downward. He describes his work, mechanic, not soldier. He never explains why he was here. Perhaps he didn't crash. Perhaps he was sent. They feed him rationed fruit, cut, small. He cannot intuit how to break it open. Once shown, he never forgets. Alien, not inferior. He reveals the cultural code. Holding and touching are greetings, comfort, apology. The captain allows himself to be held. It ruins him. Because once you feel kindness from the thing you were told to fear, duty snaps like old wire. Everything is filmed, everything is stamped, everything is marked classified and marched into the dark. 1952. Decline begins, a rash that resists every ointment, then weakness, then a quiet failing. Human doctors try. They bring the medical kit from the craft. Impossible tubes, metallic threads, a smell like rain and copper. Ibo coaches them through gestures and broken English. Nothing works. He is not afraid. He tells them that death is another plateau, life here, then a level above it. He speaks of crossing like stepping through a thin curtain. The captain asks, voice broken, "Do you want to go home?" Ibo says, "I already am, because you are here." In those days, the device runs again. The line opens farther. They exchange signals no one outside that room has decoded. Buried in the static is a timetable. A pickup is promised. September. Ibo deteriorates. He smiles more, oddly. He touches the captain's shoulder until the captain stops shaking. He tries to say one last thing. 4 syllables, swallowed by the throat implant, half lost to the recorder. Then he is gone. Not a struggle, not a scene, just breath, then no breath. The cameras turn, helpless. The captain keeps walking like a ghost. They store the body in a temperature-controlled vault. They seal the reports, but then night without moonlight, desert without witnesses. A craft comes. No transponder, no exhaust, no sound. It waits where radar is blind. A door opens. Ibo and the other remains are taken aboard. The craft moves up like a thought and vanishes. The link goes dead. The reels go colder. The captain stops sleeping. Now the betrayal. They call it national security. They are protecting power because a living extraterrestrial changed one room forever. If the public saw those reels, everything would tilt. What did Ibo tell us that was so dangerous? Pieces slip. Water is universal. Touch is speech. Death is a level, not an end.
But that isn't the dangerous part. The dangerous part is the origin story. In a final sequence of exchanged signals, scraps half decoded, there is a message the linguists argue over for years. It survives only in a transcript margin, unsigned, nearly illegible. They dreamed you up. They engineered you. They put you here. If that line is true, evolution becomes engineering. Scripture becomes redacted correspondence. History becomes a custody dispute. Who are they? Why claim us? Why now?
A missing word. The last 4 syllables Ibo tried to say, reconstructed from throat device harmonics, translate to a name, not of a planet, of a program. We were inventory. Demand proof? The proof exists on 16mm reels behind a door no map admits. They show an officer held like a brother by the thing he feared. They show a device waking a signal across a distance no telescope names. They show why some people risk prison to say a forbidden sentence and then disappear. I am not asking you to believe. I am asking you to understand why belief is too expensive for them to allow. Because if water is everywhere, life is everywhere. If life is everywhere, contact is inevitable. If contact is inevitable, control is temporary. And if control is temporary, the architecture of this world, its politics, its profits, its permissions will crack. They think time protects them, that memory is a guard dog, that fear is a leash, but fear cuts both ways, and memory leaks. Somewhere, a box of reels is mislabeled. Somewhere, a technician duplicates a strip and keeps it. Somewhere, a grandson finds the captain's journal and reads the page sealed with tape. That's how secrets end, not with a confession, with a mistake. So here is my mistake. I kept a copy of a transcript. I kept the margin no one was supposed to see. I traced the 4 syllables until they broke open. The name of the program is not in English. It does not translate cleanly, but the closest phrase is the shepherding. What? Populations, timelines, species. Hold rage until the end. There is one more layer, and it is the worst. The promised pickup was not a rescue. It was a retrieval, not of a person, of an asset. Assets are logged. Assets are audited. Assets are visited again. If you think 1947 was the first time, you are naive. If you think 1952 was the last, you are wrong. Every decade there is a ripple, radar ghosts, power failures, lights that move like decisions. Every decade there is a budget line that leads nowhere. Every decade, someone like me whispers and loses everything. You want a smoking gun, coordinates, dates, names. But I learned from Ibo. The truth that survives is told in gestures and small words. Touch means trust. Water means life. Death means level. And 4 syllables mean we were never alone and never entirely ours.
Do you feel it now? That cough behind your ceiling? That low hum in your walls? That sense that your dreams are sampled for parts? They will tell you Indibo never existed. They will say bodies were mannequins, films hoaxes, witnesses unstable. They will say the captain drank himself into fantasy. But explain the device. Explain the pickup. Explain the rash human medicine could not name. Explain the suit that does not tear. Explain the eyes that reflected light like a deep well. You can't. They can't. This is the part where I'm supposed to give you closure. I won't. Closure is the sedative they use to put truth back to sleep. Instead, I'll give you an opening. Somewhere in New Mexico, beneath a building that changed names 3 times, a wall is hollow. Behind it sits a case, military green, humidity controlled. Inside, 4 reels, a throat device, a strip of the suit, a page with the margin note. A second case holds the captain's last letter. It ends with the quietest sentence I have ever read. Tell them he was kind. If you hear that and feel nothing, stop here. If you hear that and feel the floor tilt, lean closer. Kindness is the detail they cannot weaponize. It is the reason the captain disobeyed. It is the reason I'm speaking. We were engineered? Maybe. We were harvested? Maybe. But we were also chosen to hear this, now. And if you want the rest, and there is more, follow the trail where they least expect you to look. Not in the sky, in the archives. The next room is locked. The next vault is sealed. The next reel hums with a scene no editor has cut. I will show it to you. But not here, not yet. Because if I open that door tonight, someone will close yours tomorrow. So hold this in your mouth like a secret fruit. Let it dissolve. Let it feed you. And when you're ready to step up to the next level, bring water. You'll need it.